Hey everybody, welcome. Welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Missing Person Monday this week. Honestly, my Bears were playing last night, and they very rarely show the Bears games down here in Arkansas, so I had to watch. So that's why I pushed this live stream to tonight, and it was worth it because the Bears did end up winning with last minute field goal, so I was happy. It was a pretty good football weekend for our family. The Bears won. The Chiefs won. The Colts won. Dallas lost, so not good for Echoes. And the Niners lost, which is my mom's team. But all in all, it was a good football weekend, except for the Razorbacks. They lost again Saturday. But anyway, but welcome. We are here tonight. I hope everybody had a good week last week. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Got a little rest, spent time with the family, whatever you need to do to go to your happy place, as I call it. Work, whatever that might be. I know work, for the most part, is not really a happy place. But anyway, so if you're new here, thank you for joining us. Thank you for choosing to spend time with us tonight to learn about some missing persons. Tonight, we're going to be going over some missing persons cases from Indianapolis, Indiana. And I think I have 6 or 7 cases. But on some of these, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of information aside from the Trolley Project. And once again, my farm signal is the usual tonight, so I don't have StreamYard on my, wouldn't come up on my computer, so I'm going to have to read comments off the phone. But anyway, that is about par for the course. The weather here has been pretty good. So how's everybody's weather been? We're supposed to have storms maybe Saturday here in Arkansas, but it's our what they call our second severe weather season here in Arkansas during the fall. So anyway, let's see who is here, and I apologize for leaning into the camera when I'm doing this. Stolen Spirits, if it'll come up, there it is. MMIG is here. Maybe Miss Nicole or Miss Brady, one or the other. But welcome, good to have you here. Locks of reunification is here. So that's either Matt or maybe Miss Rose. You guys can let me know which one, but welcome. Please do check out Stolen Spirits on YouTube and Facebook. Check out Locks of Reunification page on if you do Facebook. They do wonderful work over there, getting out missing persons flyers, newer cases, cold cases. They do wonderful work over there. And if somebody absolutely can drop the links in, somebody probably already has. Let's see. Chris is here. Good to see you, sir. Miss Paula is here. Good to see you, my dear. Miss Lisa Joe is here. Where's she at? There she is. Welcome, Miss Lisa Joe. Oh, she says, I'm at work, so I might be in and out. Excellent. Oh, she says, for now I'm in. Who else is here? Princess, welcome, Princess. Good to have you here. I know you from Facebook, so welcome. I'm glad you decided to drop in and spend some time with us. Miss Marion is here. Sorry, I'm working off my phone. She says, hello, everyone. Thank you all for all the work you all do and support us all in putting our stories out there. Justice for all. Absolutely. Thank you, Miss Marion, for your support, for everybody's support, for all of us. Good to see you, Miss Marion. Sorry, once again, reading my little phone. There's our friend Mustang. How you doing, dear? Good to see you. Butterfly kisses. There they are. Is here. Good to see you. Boston Christian. Oh, nope. I don't want to put them on timeout. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Doodles in Gray, aka I believe Sunday Doodles, is here. Welcome. Got the yeah, is everybody ready for Halloween? Sunday's got the Halloween going. I'm ready for Halloween. I love Halloween. Let's see. Just don't want to miss anybody. Yep, absolutely nice to see everyone. Well, there it is. Thank you, Miss Paula. Stuff does not want to work on my phone either, apparently. As usual. Oh, Lisa Jo made it back. I don't want to put people in timeout. Stop. Miss Lisa Jo apparently made it back. Locks, I don't know, once again, I don't know if it's Matt, it may be Matt, or Miss Rose has been pretty hot in Missouri. Yeah, it's cooling down. It's been in the upper mid to upper 80s here in Arkansas. The humidity is still, so we might lose the humidity by December. Who knows, here in Arkansas, or it could be worse in December. Miss Lisa Jo says she is cooling off. She's been in the duck blind every day. Yep. Mustang says she's also in Arkansas. Same for her part of Arkansas Saturday. Yep. As long as no naders come, it'll be okay. Thank you very much. Miss Lisa Jo got the link to the Locks of Reunification Facebook group or Facebook page. Or group, excuse me. Thank you, ma'am. The StreamYard must have changed things up again. Things look different. But that's about par for the course. That maybe, is that Stolen Spirits? I can't tell by that might be the link to Stolen Spirits on Facebook. And Miss Lisa Jo's got the Stolen Spirits YouTube link in. There's Miss Louise. How you doing, Miss Louise? I know we were talking about football earlier. I know Miss Louise is a Cowboys fan, so she's probably sad too, just like Echoes. And I was actually rooting for the Cowboys. I forgot who they were playing. Who were they playing? But I was actually rooting for them. I don't really have anything against the Cowboys. I just have to give Echoes, my brother, a hard time about them. But they ended up losing. Miss Lee or Lisa Jo says she's not ready for anything. Matt Matt or Rose, either whatever it is, or somebody else from Locke says I'm ready for it. I already got my costume. Oh, it's been forever since I've dressed up. There's Miss Barbara Hall. Hello, my dear. Good to see you. Always good to see Miss Barbara. Please check out Timmy's Legacy. Somebody can drop the link if you haven't already. There's Miss PJ. Welcome, my dear. Please check out Miss PJ. Yes, do all the things. Do all the things. Let's see. Just gonna get caught up. Oh. Locke says they're actually getting back into the old military uniform or trying to fit into it for a costume. Yeah, Mustang says no naders for sure. Nope, we don't want any naders. I don't think there's really a big chance for tornadoes. Just they say they can't rule out, of course. Mainly just high winds, a lot of rain. We can handle that. Yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game. Oh, my goodness. Come on. There we go. Yep, it was a good game. Okay, it is Matt. All right. So I know to say Matt now. Yeah. Thank you, Miss PJ is also putting links. Please check out Mustang. Please check out Miss Paula. Everybody that's in here. There's our friend JP. How you doing, sir? Good to see you. Please check out JP and one of his many channels that he has. His music. Let's see. Oh, my back is hurting leaning in here. Thank you very much. Yes, there is a link to Timmy's Legacy. Help support Miss Barb in her fight to get justice for her son, Timmy Dees. Still fighting that fight. Oop, just when I thought I was caught up. Yep, there's JP's link. Oh, you can dance down to one channel. What is it? What is it called now? Which one what did you name it? Okay, I think I am caught up. Oh, everything's jumping. Everything's jumping. All right. So I'll mark there. Oop. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Okay. All right, so I gotta put up the it might help if I put up my slideshow. Once again, I'm gonna have to do it from the phone. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. It's not usually this much of a dumpster fire. Like I said, we are featuring mostly cold cases. I think there's one or two maybe newer cases from maybe the mid to late or early to mid 2000s. But we do feature mostly cold cases on this channel. Now, during my videos that I upload during the week, I do some like recent missing within the last year or urgent. Oh, and before we get started with the slideshow, that reminds me, we do have, and I need to find a missing young lady here in Arkansas. Let me find, where did they go? There she is. Okay, so let me get her information. Hopefully it will, if I can remember her. Oh my gosh, what was her name? Victoria. Oh my goodness. And I forgot to bookmark the, was it Valner? Maybe it'll come up. Oh, Varner. That's what it was. 1 second, guys. I'll get it here in a minute. Okay, so she is missing from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And I did check an hour or two ago, and as far as I could find, she still has not been found yet. Um, but the Pine Bluff Police Department has asked for the public's help in locating Victoria. She's just 15 years old. Victoria Varner, she was last seen running east from the Sonic located on Olive Street in Pine Bluff. She is 5'4" tall and around 130 pounds. They say she also typically wears her hair is black, and that she typically wears it in a ponytail. So anyone with information on her whereabouts is asked to contact the Pine Bluff Police Department Detective Division at 870-730-2090. You can call the tip line at 870-730-2106 or the dispatch center at 870-541-5300. And unfortunately, I think this young lady, because I looked on Facebook, and unfortunately, I don't think this is the first time that this young lady has run away. So I don't know what might be going on with that. But at any rate, and when we get done here, I will find hopefully they have a missing persons poster. If not, I know the Morgan Nick Project Facebook page does posters. I will post it on my community tab. So if you guys could share it out, that would be fantastic. All right. So we will get to our missing persons from Indianapolis. First, we have Kimberly Marie Blackburn, and I think I might have featured her in a live stream or a video some time ago, because when I was looking at her information, it was very familiar to me. Her picture is very familiar, but at any rate, it can't be shared enough. So Kimberly has been missing since May 29th, 1983 from Indianapolis. She is a white female. She was just 24 years old when she went missing. She would be 67 years old as of 2025. At the time she went missing, she was 5'5" tall and 115 to 125 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. Her nickname is Kim. She also uses the street names Bad Beaver, Rosanna, and Rosie. She does have a small tattoo of a rose on her hip and another unknown tattoo on her shoulder. Her right eye has a coloboma, also known as a keyhole pupil. She does have scars on her shins, and she does have chemical burn scars on her buttocks. So Kimberly was last seen in Indianapolis on May 29th, 1983. She left her parents' home. She never returned. On July 17th, she did call a friend from a truck stop here in Arkansas. I don't know what part of Arkansas, and that said that she was returning to Indiana. It is unclear whether she ever arrived back in Indiana. She has never been seen or heard from again after that. Her life prior to her disappearance was very troubled. She had been arrested for substance and alcohol-related offenses, as well as theft, disorderly conduct, trespassing, and prostitution. She had been treated for some medical conditions that she had. Her last arrest was for prostitution on April 4th. It says that she did like to frequent truck stops, which just scares the living daylights out of me, because not all, but truck stops are just generally for women alone. Can be dangerous places. So she liked to frequent truck stops. She would use a CB radio to contact drivers. She did hand out business cards giving her occupation as public relations. She had left home before for extended periods of time, but she had never been gone for this long. She told her mother, this is just sends shivers down my back. She said, if you don't hear from me before or on Daddy's birthday, something is wrong. So, and on her father's birthday, which was on October 23rd of 1983, all of his siblings, they had 5 kids altogether, called him except for Kimberly. So after her disappearance, there were rumors that she had passed away of cancer in a Wisconsin hospital. I do not know where these rumors came from. These stories could not be confirmed. She had shown no indications of having cancer prior to her disappearance. Unfortunately, her parents have since passed away in the years after Kimberly disappeared, but her siblings are still alive and they hope for answers in her case. Absolutely. So if you have any information, you can call the Indianapolis PD at 317-327-6915. And I don't think I was able to find an additional. When I do these cases, I use the Charlie Project for the basic information, once again, for anybody new here. And then I do research, so get on the Google machine and try to search and find articles. I like to try to find the interviews with family members, interviews with law enforcement detectives or whoever who have worked on the case, any updates that there may have been. But unfortunately, with Kimberly's, I was not able to find any additional information aside from this. But what do we always say? A little bit of information is better than none. So, hold on. Get back to your comments for a minute, and then we will continue. And I will, since I'm having to lean into the phone here, I'll turn it off so you won't have to look at my big fat face here on the camera. I'm just trying to find out. I know I marked where I left off. I always lose it. There it is. Okay. Absolutely. You can plug your groups, Miss Lisa Joe. Oh, the troublemaker's here. Our resident troll is here. Hello, Echoes. Welcome, welcome. And this is my actual brother. So when I call him Bubba, he really is my brother. Welcome. Good to have you here. Thank you. Yes, definitely check out Find Barb Cotton on Facebook. JP says the name is same as it's always been. Well, JP, you've had so many names, I can't keep up with them. I'll find it. I think I was subscribed to every one that you had, so I guess is your name in it? I'll just put in John Paul Hansen. Oh goodness, there's our friend Junior. Hello, Junior. Good to see you, my friend. Hola. Yes, do check out Miss PJ. Ooh, I'm leaning out of the camera. Oh, what am I doing? See, that's why I turn the camera off while I'm reading from my phone. JP says, no more changes. I'm just waiting for my OAC. Where's the OAC? Is OAC to merge? Cool. JP's working on new music. He says just more music, working on a double press album right now. Cool. We'll be looking forward to that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I'm trying using my other hand. Keep having to switch arms. JP says he's just here for the tardy cookies. Got to talk to Miss PJ about that. Oh, goodness. Thank you very much. There's Miss Paula's link. JP says he's taking 2 months off. Miss PJ says she needs a vacation. I think we all need a vacation. Yeah. Matt says, if I remember correctly, her case, talking about Kimberly, her case is where she got Reisner truckers and she last contacted her family from Arkansas. Absolutely. And I could not find, like I said, I was not able to find any As far as news articles, now I think she has a NamUs and is in the system. But as far as news articles with any additional information that wasn't in the Charlie Project, but I wish I knew what part of Arkansas that she called from, but I was not able to find that. Lucky going to Italy again. Barb says she hates truck stops. I know. And there's one here that we don't even stop. It's called Galloway. It's about halfway between the town I live in and like North Little Rock area. And on one side of the road is the truck stop, and then on the other side of the road there's just a gas station. And no matter what time of day or night you go by there, there's always at least one police officer at that just a regular gas station, just for security, I'm assuming. We don't stop there unless we absolutely have to, and even if we, don't absolutely need to, like, stop and use the restroom before we get home, we're just like, no, we can hold it till we get home, especially if it's at night. But yeah, the truck stops can be not so safe places. Yep, Miss Paula, I would, yes, consider suspicious, most definitely. Yes, JP says truck stops are downright creepy. Yep. His wife does not leave my side at one. I don't blame her a bit. Yep, we've talked about that too. Boston says truck stops are so dangerous. New report by FBI on truckers and SKers. Absolutely. Dave, out on the prowl, he keeps saying, he's always talking about that. Not saying that obviously not all truck drivers are serial offenders, but there are a large number of serial offenders that have been truck drivers, because it's basically the perfect cover, the perfect alibi. You're crossing the country, you're crossing in different states. You could abduct somebody in one state and then dump them in another state, and once you cross lines, it's hard for the law enforcement jurisdictions to share or get information to each other. So it's just very scary. You're probably correct. Miss Alicia Joe says, I'm going to guess that law enforcement did not look too hard for her. Probably not. Unfortunately, being as, you heard all the things I read about her, her profession, some of the problems she had. Unfortunately, not all law enforcement, but I would say, I don't know, I would go so far, maybe a majority of law enforcement would probably put someone like Kimberly, unfortunately, further down on the list than others, which is absolutely wrong in my opinion. And in my opinion, it doesn't matter what your background is, what you've done in the past, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're missing. You deserve to be found. You deserve to have awareness, attention, media, whatever, brought, to help find that person. But unfortunately, like I said, that's not always the case. But that's why we feature anybody and everybody on this channel. Yeah, Matt says, back in those days, truck stops were known to be full of substances and prostitution. Sadly, she could be anywhere from Arkansas to Indiana. A very sad case. I know. Yeah, so I was saying, especially if it could be a truck driver. Who knows? Or just somebody, just some creepy, rando hanging out at the truck stops, because that does happen also. Yeah. But I don't know if I mean, this is just my opinion, just pure speculation. Obviously, I don't know, but if I was to hazard a guess, since she said that she hung out at truck stops, she used a CB, which is, obviously truckers use CBs. A trucker would probably be at the top of my list. Now, once again, that's just my opinion, pure speculation, but that would just be high on my list. Echoes, Miss Barb says she would fit in a suitcase so she could go to Italy with you. See, I don't know if I could fit in a suitcase right now. I'd have to lose a lot of weight. Which comment? Which comment? No, I'm glad. If you're talking about Italy, no, I'm glad y'all going to Italy again. Chris says, I know that there are way too many cases involving people who are involved in dancing for clubs. Absolutely. Really? So Matt says, I remember hearing the specific name recently of the town in Arkansas. I will need to find the source link for it. But I think it was Northeast Arkansas. Okay. So maybe up in Mustang. I can never remember if Mustang is Northeast or Northwest Arkansas. I'll have to do some more research. Boston says, if I'm not mistaken, that would be close to the time they found a truck driver unalived in his front seat of semi off I-70 rest stop, money, wallet, all on console, and truck food had just bought or snacks. Oh, an actual driver unalived? Well, that's not good either. Absolutely. Yeah, well, we've talked about that one before, Royal Russell Long. Yep, I just posted a video on her. When was it? Monday? Yesterday? Matt says there's actually a current missing persons case involving something, the Vicky Mize case. Yes, I did. I posted a video, I believe, on Vicky Monday. It's just not a whole lot of information, but I think that has something to do with truck stops or her talking to truckers also, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, something similar. Yep. Yep. Lisa Joe says even modern day law enforcement isn't always helpful in these cases, let alone in the 80s. Yeah. Especially back in the 80s. We would hope being the word, that things were better now, but yeah, back in the 80s, probably not so much. I need to get the next article loading right quick because, oh, it actually loaded. Yeah, we're going to have to do a live stream on just him one night. Lisa Joe said Royal Russell Long is thought to be responsible for many disappearances, including Cinda Pallett and Charlotte Kinsey. Yeah, that's true. Where Sunday says, where 1980, where would Ellie even begin? Yeah, because I'm with Lisa Joe. I'm just my opinion. They probably didn't do a whole lot, so there's probably not a whole lot of interviews or files or anything of that nature. I would just be my guess, unfortunately. Welcome. I'm trying to pronounce this. Lipsha Morrissey, welcome. Good to see you. It's a new name. Good to have you here. I'm assuming Chris invited you. Thank you, Chris. Always good to see new people here. All right, I think I am caught up once again, so we will move on to the next one. Mark right there, so I won't forget where I was at. All right, next, oh, I forgot to have to. Next, we have Vali Elizabeth Davis. Vali has been missing since June 24th, 1979 from Indianapolis. She's a white female. She was just 23 years old when she went missing. She'll be 70 years old as of 2025. When she went missing, excuse me, she was 5'5" to 5'7", and 110 pounds with red hair and green eyes. Excuse me. She may use the last name Morrison. And at the time of her disappearance, her hair was shorter than shown. And I tried to use a photo. I couldn't find very many photos. These are basically the same photos that I found on Google were the ones that they used to on a Charlie Project. But in that one, her hair is a little bit shorter than the other one. So she was last known to be wearing a black nylon square neck dress with shoulder straps, lace on the sides, and an A-line skirt, and she was carrying a matching black purse. So Vali was last seen at Lucifer's restaurant in the 3500 block of East 86th Street in Indianapolis on June 24th, 1979. It said that this restaurant was a popular club featuring dancing, disco music. She left at around 2 a.m. She was last seen walking towards her brown or copper-colored 1976 Ford Pinto. I had a friend in school who had a Pinto that we rode around in. They were seen leaving the restaurant parking lot, or she was last seen walking towards her car, which was in the restaurant parking lot. After that, she has never been heard from again. She was reported missing 2 days later, and police did find her car unlocked and abandoned in the lot where she had parked it. So either possibilities, she met somebody in the parking lot, got into the car with them, and something happened after that. What was the other possibility? It just jumped out of my head. Or she was snatched in the parking lot. And now you would think, and I don't know how busy this restaurant would have been. It was says it was a popular dancing disco restaurant type bar place. So you would think if she was snatched, you would think and hope that somebody would have seen something and said something. But either are possibilities. So there are, unfortunately, those are about the only details available, but it is being investigated as a homicide. So if you have any information, once again, you can call the Indiana State Police for this one at 800-453-4756. And let me see if I had anything else. Actually, I tell you, I was able to find from newspapers.com just let me make it bigger so I can read it. Just a short news article or from the paper. No trace of Vali Davis missing since leaving disco on June 24th. Vali E. Davis, 23, of Clayton, vanished in the early morning hours of June 24th after leaving Lucifer's, a popular Northeast club that features disco music and dancing. A friend last saw the young woman around 2 a.m. walking toward her brown 1976 Ford Pinto that was parked in the lot. In the 3.5, so this article is written 3.5 months after she disappeared. Oh, now it just went away. Come back. Oh my goodness. Hold on, let me try to get it back. I don't know why it just disappeared. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the dumpster fire. I don't know why it just disappeared. Let me try closing the tab out, just doing a new tab. Sometimes that works. I think one problem with my computer is every time I go to update it, to update Windows or whatever, it does everything and then it says there's not enough disk space to do the update, but I've cleared everything out and it still says it does not have any disk space. So I don't know. I don't know about these things. All right, let me see if I can get this to come back up. There we go. Okay, maybe it'll stay this time. All right, back to the article. So in the 3.5 months since that date, and no one has seen Miss Davis. Her car was found in the lot at Lucifer's the next day with the driver's door unlocked, but the Pinto had not been moved. Besides a physical description of Miss Davis and the clothing that she was wearing, police investigators have little else to help bring them or to help them figure out the mysterious disappearance. Once again, I can't talk. Sergeant Edward Charters of the Indiana State Police, was an investigator assigned to the case, said, obviously, we think that she was kidnapped, but that's only speculation. He added that police have found, quote, no trace whatsoever. Other than speculation, Charters said there is little that police can do except wait and hope that she turns up unharmed. Charters terms the case unusual because some trace of a missing person usually turns up in this length of time. Charters says this sort of thing happens, but not often. Her word family has gone to nearly every length attempting to find Miss Davis. They have placed an ad in the personal notices in the Indianapolis Star offering a $1,000 reward for her return. Mr. and Miss Dale Davis say no questions will be asked. Now, this is back in 1979, just 3.5 months after she disappeared. They said, no questions would be asked. Private investigators have been hired. Several psychics consulted by Willa, who is Vali's mother, in what so far has been a vain attempt to find her daughter. Miss Davis says, I know she was abducted. Vali would never go away from home without letting us know. We have talked to fortune tellers. I don't know about, nothing against psychics and all that stuff, but I don't know that psychics and fortune tellers are your best bet. But I mean, I do understand, families, when a family has a missing loved one, they will go to, if nothing else has worked out, or, the traditional methods, I should say, have not led to anything to go on, then you would, turn to psychics, fortune tellers, just, So her mom goes on to say, we're ready to listen to almost anything. She says, Vali is a shy type person. She's not forward, and wherever she is, she must be scared to death. Once again, Vali was described as being 5 foot 7 inches tall, of slender build, 110 pounds, with red hair and green eyes. And when last seen, once again, her hair was shorter than pictured. She was wearing the black square neck dress with straps over the shoulders, lace on sides, and A-line skirt, carrying a matching black purse. So that was just an article I found from newspapers.com. Let's see, make sure that was all that I had. Yep. So get the next article loading while I check your comments. Once again, I apologize for leaning into the camera, but I'm working off my phone. There we go. Oh, come on. Okay. Yep, missing since, maybe it'll help if I use my stylus. Oh, now I'm knocking everything around. Missing since 1983. Yep. Chris says, talking to Lipsha, says, I know that you're familiar with one of these cases. Hey, Frank Meister, good to see you, sir. True Crime Talk with Frank Meister is in the house. Please do check out Frank Meister. I watched he did a check-in live one day last week. I don't know, I've slept since then. Good to have you here, sir. turn my camera off. I feel self-conscious about leaning into it here. That way I can get closer so I can actually read. What's not true? Lisa Joe says, nope, not true. Something's not true. Lisa Joe says, especially not if they were a victim of foul play. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I was saying, Lisa said loved ones get so desperate. Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't put a whole lot of stock in psychics and things of that nature, but I mean, you know, it couldn't hurt, you know, and like I said, if the traditional methods, nothing pans out, then yes, families are absolutely desperate and will do anything, try anything. Matt says he knows at least a few families of the missing who use psychics. Now, and I was saying that I necessarily don't believe in psychics, that people can have psychic powers. But unfortunately, as with a lot, there are a lot of scammers out there. So you just have to be really, really careful when you go in that direction. Absolutely, Chris says, I hope that these cases get awareness. Absolutely. That's why we are talking to them. Frank Meister says, believe me when I tell you I'm PD when it comes to missing persons or homicide cases or cold cases. They don't lift a finger to try to figure out the cases once so much time has gone by. Sorry, I had trust me on that. Oh, I trust you. I wholeheartedly agree. That's why, in my opinion, it's so important to feature cold cases, to keep them out there, keep shoving them in everybody's face. Maybe somebody will decide to do the right thing and start looking into some of these. Yep, and Frank Meister does know about Indiana. He is in Indiana. He says that's experience from working cases here in Indiana. Absolutely. We could probably do a whole live stream on things about Indiana. Chris agrees. He says, I agree that there's way too little effort used to search for answers on cases. Yep. Thank you very much. Miss Doodle put in Frank Meister's link. Lisa Jo says, yep, I gave Williston PD the name of a guy who knew the alleged boyfriend of my missing family member, Barb Cotton. I waited 10 months and when they never called, sorry, I'm having to read off my phone. I can't see. I waited 10 months and when they never called him up, I'm assuming she's going to finish it. Yeah, they just don't follow up. Dakota Spotlight put out another podcast episode on Barb. Boston says they do seem to be working on cold cases out at Fox Hollow. Herb Ballmeister. Oh, the gosh, we've talked about him before. Yeah, he is. Can't remember if we did a whole live stream about him or just talked about him in maybe one of the True Crime After Dark live streams. He was not a good fella, obviously, to put it mildly. Lisa says, or when we found Melissa Highsmith, Fort Worth PD, and never even went to go speak to the woman that raised her, and now that woman passed away. Oh my goodness. So they didn't let her know that they found. Oh my goodness. That is unacceptable, in my opinion. Chris says Fort Wayne PD isn't that good at handling cases. Yep, I would consider, Miss Paula once again wants to consider suspicious. Once again, I consider all missing persons suspicious unless it comes to light that they left of their own accord. Absolutely. Yep. Frank Meister says when cold case detectives out of Indianapolis don't return your calls, that ought to tell you something. I know it's that burns me up. Lisa Joe says public pressure is huge. Call up the PD and ask what they're doing to find these people. Maybe it's worth a try. Lipsha says Indiana is a mess. Yeah. Lisa Joe says yes. We just put out an episode talking to the guy that knew Stacy Werder. Oh yeah, Stacy Werder. Yeah, Chris says every state is a mess. Lisa Joe says literally the only other person that can place Stacy in Williston besides Barb's mother. Yeah, I think Frank Meister's, he can correct me if I'm wrong, absolutely, live stream that I watched, the last one he did, that he was going to start working on looking into some cold cases, because he does in Indiana, because he does have connections and access to get like official documents and things of that nature, which is excellent. No, you're fine, Lisa Joe. We talk about whatever, any and every case needs to be talked about. Miss PJ says in Harmony's case, we were on the news weekly. Although she hasn't been found, we know what happened to her. Praying she is found soon. Absolutely. Okay, I think I'm caught up once again. So we'll see who we have next. We have Jason Ellis. Oh, let me turn my camera back on since I'm not leaning into the camera anymore. This is Jason Ellis. He's been missing since December 3rd, 2006 from Indianapolis. I'm having problems saying Indianapolis. He's a black male. He was just 20 years old when he went missing. He'll be 38 years old as of 2025. When he went missing, he was 6'1" tall, 160 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. His nickname is JT. Both his ears are pierced. One of his front teeth is chipped. He has the following tattoos: his mother's name, Neatrice, Neatrice, across his chest. His name, Jason, with a maple leaf above it on his right arm, and the cartoon characters, Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, on his left arm. And it gives no known clothing when he disappeared. So Jason was last seen in Indianapolis. I'm just going to say Indy. It's easier to say. On December 3rd, 2006, he was at an apartment in the 9800 block of Willow Tree Lane at the time. Just before his disappearance, his mother in Gary, Indiana, wired him some money so that he could repair his car. He left his car behind at his apartment, and when his mother went to Indianapolis to report his disappearance, it says that she found one of his shirts. Now, I don't know where she found it, if it's in the car, in the apartment, just laying outside somewhere. He has never been heard from again, obviously. A few details are available. His mother and the authorities do believe he was the victim of a homicide, but little evidence is available in his case. So if you have any information, you can call the Indy Police Department at 317-327-6984. Let's see, and I think I do have an article. If it'll come up, it may take it a minute. Just look at y'all's comments again while I'm waiting. Are you talking about Harmony Montgomery? That's the Harmony that I know. Okay. So this article is from the Indy Star. It is from February of 2014, so a few years old. So Indianapolis Metro PD Detective Charles Gold does not know what happened to Jason Ellis in December of 2006, but he has theories. The 20-year-old Merrillville native who had been living in Indianapolis for only a few months before he disappeared. They say he could have gotten swept up in the Northwest Indiana substance trade. He could have been pew-pewed down by the very man running that trade, perhaps after an attempt to escape the lifestyle. Or, Gold says, Ellis could have been attacked at his Willow Tree Lane apartment by a jealous girlfriend from out of town, furious to discover that he had been less than faithful. But they are all just theories. More than 7 years after Ellis went missing from an apartment complex that he was sharing with friends, Gold said police are no closer to finding him. Gold says there's a whole lot of nothing on this case and nobody is talking. That's unfortunately another big problem with most cases. A lot of cases is if people know something, they don't always come forward. Gold is not sure of the exact date that Ellis vanished, but Ellis's mother, Natrice Billingsley, last spoke to him on the phone December 3rd of 2006. She reported him missing almost 2 weeks later when she had not heard from him. Gold said that he has pinned the time down to the weekend of that final phone call, though the circumstances are murky. Ellis's roommates were out of town and didn't think anything of it when they returned and he wasn't there. Ellis, I said, did have a habit of taking off to visit his old haunts in the Merrillville area, and I don't know how far Merrillville is from Indy. But Gold says, but something made Ellis leave his apartment that weekend and most likely left him deceased. But Gold is just not sure what it is. The search for Ellis started with his mother, of course. When Ellis stopped returning her calls, Billingsley drove down from Merrillville to her son's apartment on Willow Tree Lane on the far east side. Her son's car was parked on the street. All his clothes were still inside, but Ellis was nowhere to be found. I wonder why all his clothes were inside the car. IMPD detectives took over the investigation. They searched Ellis's place for clues, but there was very little to go on. Something very disturbing. The comforter was missing. It could be disturbing. Gold said, lending credence to a theory that he was perhaps beaten to death in the apartment and buried in the comforter somewhere between Indianapolis and Merrillville. But investigators at the time failed to find any evidence that such a struggle occurred. They found no blood in the apartment, no signs of a struggle or a fight. Jason's roommates, a couple of friends from his high school days at Merrillville, did not have an explanation for police. Family and friends hadn't heard from him either. Gold inherited the case after the initial investigation, and by then, most trails had gone cold. On a few anonymous tips, Gold and a team of investigators went up to the Gary region to look for a body. Nothing panned out. So I don't know if they got once again, I don't know how far apart these places are. how far Gary is from Merrillville or Indy. Nothing panned out. They didn't find anything, evidently. He conducted several interviews with family members, friends, acquaintances, even some people he believed to be potential suspects. That also, all that went nowhere. Gold said they didn't come to the door, recalling his attempts to track down people who could have been involved or knew something about Ellis. They didn't come to the door, and when they did, they said, I'm going to call my lawyer. Without evidence or witness statements, Gold said that he had nothing to go on. So years passed, still more years. It's 2025 now. No answers still. Billingsley, his mother, was sure her son was deceased, but she never gave up the search. Gold said she kept in solid touch with me. She was his advocate, and no one else cares. So, I don't know if I would make that statement. I would at least said, his mom cares, the police department cares. He said no one else cares. I may be misinterpreting the way he said that, but so Billingsley, his mother, contacted Gold often, asking for updates and telling him about bodies found near Gary and Chicago, each time hoping her son might have been found. But each time a negative identification came back, her hopes were dashed. Then last year, which would have been, when did I say this article was from? 2014. Last year, which would have been around 2013, his mom suffered a massive brain hemorrhage. And she passed away, never knowing her son's fate. Oh my God, that breaks my heart. Gold says she was an awesome lady. He met with Billingsley several times in his office and at her home, reviewing details of the case. He says one meeting stands out. He says she just cries. She says, "Are you going to find him for me? Are you going to find him for me?" Gold says, "I shouldn't have done it, but I promised her." I said, "Yeah, I'm going to find him for you." And then he says, "And I never did." So where does the case stand? It's still as of 2025 too. If Jason Ellis is ever going to be found, it will take one of two things: a witness or a body. Probably, unfortunately, it's going to take somebody coming forward to say something, because there's his body could be anywhere from Merrillville to Indy to, Gary. They were looking in Gary. And once again, I don't have any concept of how far away all these places are from each other. Gold says, what will crack this case? If somebody says, I saw this happen and I'm finally not scared enough to say anything. Absolutely. If Ellis is deceased, the discovery of his body also would likely provide a wealth of clues. Until then, Gold says there are too many roadblocks and no answers. In the absence of a resolution, Gold says he hopes there's at least one silver lining. During one of his last conversations with Billingsley, Gold said that she wished she could one day see her son again. And he says, so they're together now since when she passed away. Hopefully, I would like to think in my mind that they are together. So the rest of this is just, so once again, 20 years old when he disappeared, 6'1", 160 pounds, with brown eyes and black hair, a tattoo of his mother's name, Latrice, on his chest, a tattoo of the cartoon character Scooby and Scrappy Doo on his left arm, and a tattoo of a maple leaf and his name on his right arm. He has a chipped front tooth and piercings in both ears. Once again, you can call Indy Metro PD or 911. It's just always breaks my heart to read interviews with, especially family members, but they're just so important, because unfortunately the actual victim of these, the missing person, is not the only victim. It's the families, their families. They just need answers, want answers, closure. That's all they want. They just want to know what happened. Best case scenario, they want them to, find their loved one alive and well. on the other end of the spectrum, just, hopefully find their remains to lay them to rest properly, get some measure of closure. It's just so sad. All right. I'm sweating. It's hot in here again tonight. Right, let me get the next article loaded. I'll get caught up in your comments again. Let me get a drink. Okay, that's where okay, yeah, Harmony Montgomery. Yeah, Chris says Jason's case is very familiar to me, and the details are very disturbing to me. I know. Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering. Now, it could be as simple, because I said when his mom got there, that his car was there, all his clothes were in the car. Does that mean he was leaving? He was moving, going somewhere? Was it wash day? I don't know. It could have been going to the washateria. But it is very disturbing that the comforter was missing for obvious reasons. I mean, I know, did the friends have something to do with it? It didn't say how many friends. It just said friends. There were high school friends that he lived with. Now, once again, I'm not saying they had anything to do with it, but it's just, you have to look at the ones obviously closest to the person who disappeared. That'd be loved one, roommates, whatever the case may be. Excuse me. Frank Meister says 2 friends of mine, Scott Reiser and Bobby Ford, were the victims of homicides in 2012. I hate to hear that. And I had major leads for the case. And I had major leads for the case and the cold case unit. And the major from the cold case unit from IMPD would not return my calls. Oh my gosh. Unacceptable. Miss Farr has been a member for a year. Thank you, Miss Farr, for your continued support. Hold on, it may take me a minute to find the moo cow on the. There she is. Thank you so much, Miss Farr, for being a member. And I gotta find the comments again. There they are. For 1 year. Miss Farr is a wonderful human being. Oh, wait a minute. And she also didn't make. Hold on, I missed something. Hold on. Frank says, oh my gosh, my phone is driving me crazy. Willow Tree Lane is my old stomping ground. So you actually know where this is. Yeah, it said he lived on Willow Tree. Oh, I have to go back to I think where they lived at was on Willow Tree Lane, I believe. Once again, the computer's running slow. And Miss Farr also gifted 5 Southern Gal True Crime memberships. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Congratulations to whoever got them. I can't see on the StreamYard side. You guys can see on YouTube. You can let me know. Thank you so much, Miss Farr. You are too kind. Let's see. I guess it said in the article, yeah, something about Willow Tree Lane. There's a gnat flying around. Sorry, I almost kicked myself out of the studio. Oh my God, I hate having to work off my phone. Okay, Frank Meister said that Merrillville is only 16-minute drive from Gary. Okay. Thank you, sir. Yep, welcome everybody to the paddock who got the memberships. Oh, Frank Meister, did you get one? Excellent. Frank Meister said thanks for the membership. Excellent, excellent. And I will try to get I know I said this 2-3 weeks ago, the third video in the Heath Stalk series that I've been doing for the members. I will try to get it recorded. I may do it tonight, being as I have everything set up. I may get it recorded real quick tonight after we get done here, and have it uploaded for the members. It'll be on the Jack Walls trials. So if you're a member, if you haven't checked out the members only videos, I do a series. It's called Red Rum in a Small Town, Murder in a Small Town, or I think is that what they call it, small town or country town, a southern town, something like that. I've shared several cases, and then I've been doing a series on the Heath Stalks case, which is been hard to do for me because I am very, very close to that case. So I have to be in the right mindset to dig into it again and bring it all back up. But anyway, I will get the third in the series, or the fourth. It's either the third or the fourth, up for you guys as soon as possible. I promise. Boston wants to know if the Willow Tree Lane is in the Lawrence area. Yep. Paula says Scooby-Doo fan, love him. Yep, I love me some Scooby-Doo. Frank Meister says most homicides in the Gary or Merrillville area are related to substances or gang activity. Miss Lisa Joe says she will be back in a bit. Yep, that is true. Frank Meister says, you know how police departments are about working with other jurisdictions on one of their own cases. They don't like other jurisdictions involved. Prime example, Delphi. Exactly. Exactly. Yep, Miss Barb says they just want their babies back. And Miss Barb would know. Unfortunately, she has been through it, still going through it. Fortunately, she did find Timmy, not the way that we wanted him. You know, she wanted him to be found, but she did. But still trying to get justice. It will. I have faith it will happen one of these days. Yeah, Lipsha says once in a very great while we get a miracle. Absolutely. That's why we never give up hope. Miss Farr says my profile pic is a Native American girl. Mom, Mind Monster sent it to me. I got it yesterday. Her name is, I hope I don't bridge, Gumnut. Excellent. I'll have to take a look at it. A bigger, it's not very big on my phone. Miss Barbara says she has some Scooby-Doo boots. I want those boots. Miss Paula says any suspects? Not, nope, unfortunately not. I'm sure, just my opinion, I'm sure there's somebody out there that knows something, that saw something. But it's just going to take somebody manning up or womaning up and coming forward and saying something. Okay. We're caught up, so we will get on to the next one. Mark that. Okay. Next we have, oh, I thought I already had it loading. This is Michelle Ellis. As far as I know, no relation to Jason. Michelle has been missing since August 2nd, 1978 from Indy. She's a black female. She was just 23 years old when she went missing. She'll be 70 years old as of 2025. At the time she went missing, she was 5'4" tall, 115 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. She was last known to be wearing a blue jeans, a gray sweater with multicolored stripes, and blue or black cuffs, and white sneakers. Michelle was last seen leaving her home in Indy at around 8 a.m. on August 2nd, 1978. At around 9 a.m., about an hour later, her red 1973 Oldsmobile Omega was found in the 3700 block of Fall Creek Parkway. They said it was out of gas, and this was about half a block from a service station, from a gas station. The driver's side door was locked, but the passenger door was open. Inside the vehicle were her car keys and her purse, which contained her driver's license, ID, checkbook, credit cards, $2 in cash. It says Michelle was a part-time model and a student at the Heron School of Art at Indiana Purdue University at the time of her disappearance. Excuse me. She had worked as a cashier in the automotive department at a Sears store at Castleton Square, but she quit that job on July 28th. She never picked up her last paycheck. She lived with her parents in the 3700 block of North Drexel. On December 11th, 1980, 2 years and 4 months after her disappearance, her parents got a phone call from someone who said, quote, "This is Michelle." The caller then hung up, never called back. It has not been verified if this caller was in fact Michelle. She has never been heard from again, and her case remains unsolved. So if you have any information, you can call the Indianapolis PD at 317-327-6915. Let me see. I think I did have an article or something from newspapers.com. I think this is just a searching houses for clues. Police today, whenever this article was written, began searching vacant houses in an attempt to turn up clues on the disappearance of an art student and part-time model who has been missing since last Wednesday morning. Michelle Ellis, 23, was last seen at about 8 a.m. At her home. Searches and interviews with friends and relatives so far have turned up no clues, according to police. Investigators did not indicate whether foul play may have been involved. Her abandoned car, once again, was found in the south lane of the 3700 block of Fall Creek Parkway, half a block from a gas station. The gas tank was empty. Once again, inside the car were her purse containing her ID, driver's license, credit cards, a couple of dollars in change, and her checkbook. So I'm going to tell you, if you run, I mean, I don't carry a purse anymore. I used to back in the day. But if in my opinion, or just from being a woman and knowing, if I run out of, back when I was carrying a purse, if I ran out of gas and had to walk, I'm taking my purse and everything with me. I'm not leaving it in the car. So that to me is a little, now I'm not saying all women do that, but the majority, I believe. Ladies in the chat or watching replay, leave a comment and let me know. If you ran out of gas and you carry a purse or even just a wallet, I would take everything with me, keys, purse, everything. Anyway, so officers patrolled the banks of nearby Fall Creek, but failed to turn up any evidence. Investigators also are interviewing persons who live in the area where the car was found. Miss Ellis, who lived with her parents, left home without saying where she was going, as according to her father Norman, as what he told police. Her parents said that she never before had gone away for extended periods of time and had it. They, of course, expressed their worries. Oh, no, they said she had. No, wait. This doesn't make so. It says the woman's parents says she never before had gone away for extended periods and had expressed no worries. So does that mean that she didn't express any worries about anything? Anyway, friends of the young woman, however, told investigators that she recently had been depressed. Miss Ellis was employed as a cashier at an automotive store until she quit on July 28th without picking up her paycheck. Once again, she attended Marion College, the Heron School of Art of Indiana Purdue University, and the John Roberts Powers Modeling School. Once again, she's 5'4" tall, around 112 pounds, with a light complexion, medium length hair. She was wearing a gray sweater with multicolored stripes and black cuffs, blue jeans, and white tennis shoes. So apparently at least they did do some searching. I mean, okay. Let's see. I think that's the only thing I had on her. Get back into your comments while my stuff is loading. I know I'm marked. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Okay, there we go. Yep, once again, thank you, Miss PJ. Do all the things. Yep, once again, thank you, Miss PJ, is putting in links to all these other wonderful creators who are joining us tonight. Please go check them out. Boston Christian says, how horrible. I did not know Heron School of Art had a student missing. Cold case. Yep. Yep. You're welcome, Miss Paula. Hey, Dandy. Good to see you, my dear. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yep. Half a block from a gas station. So, like I said, and I'm hoping, once again, that they did go down to if they did any kind of investigation at all, just basic investigation. I mean, I by no means have never been law enforcement, and but even I would know, let's hope they went down to the gas station and say, hey, did a lady come in and said she ran out of gas? I have a block down. But to me, it's just weird that she did not take a purse or anything with her. I mean, especially back in, was this the 80s? I have to go back. Or 70s, late 70s, early 80s. I'm telling you, most women, 99.9% of women are going to take a purse or whatever they're carrying, wallet, purse, whatever, with them if they have to get out and walk somewhere. It's just, to me, that's the thing. The big red flag for me, aside from her, obviously for her being missing, is she did not take that purse, didn't take anything with her. Absolutely, please. Yes. Miss Barb needs, she knows that we've all got her back, but she could use more support. Boston says, Heron School of Arts is not an easy school to get into. Bless her poor family. They must have went through hell. Absolutely. Yep. That's what I'm saying. Doodle or Sunday Doodle says that doesn't make sense. Her money was in the car. Yeah, everything. ID, checkbook. I think the said we just had about $2 in cash, but she didn't take the checkbook. Didn't take the ID, nothing. The keys are still in the car. I would have even taken the keys. I mean, even though it was out of gas, I'm still going to take the keys with me. Just doesn't make sense to me. You're fine, Miss PJ. Yeah, Boston says, I don't think at all that she would have left her purse. Nope, I don't either. Miss Paula wants to know what was her major. She was a model, I believe. Not as far as, let me go back to that article. Actually had she was in a bunch of different schools. She was in a modeling school. Let me go back down to, let me find it. She had attended Marion College at the Heron School of Art of Indiana Purdue University, the John Roberts Powers modeling school. So she was evidently into the arts and modeling, things of that nature. And she had worked at an automotive store in a mall, I think it said. So. Anything's possible. Dandy says, is it possible she was abducted and the scene of the car was staged? It's possible. Let me go back. Okay, so hold on. Let me go back to, I get all the cases mixed up in my head when we're to the Charlie Project. It's possible because she was last seen leaving her home at 8 a.m. on August 2nd, and around 9 a.m., which had been obviously about an hour later, is when her car was found half a block away from the gas station. But it was out of gas. But that doesn't mean it couldn't have been staged. Anything, we all know anything is possible. Anything is possible. But it's strange. It also says the driver's side door was locked, but the passenger door was open. So to me, that doesn't make sense either. So we got the driver's side door locked, passenger door was open. Everything was left: keys, purse, driver's license, ID, checkbook, credit cards, a couple dollars in cash. Everything was left behind. Lots of the red flags are stacking up the more that I look at it. Yep. Sunday says she was really motivated in life. Absolutely. Boston says, sounds like the 2002 Nancy Lyons case. Everything left in the car. I think her car was still running in the road with a flat tire. Rushville, Indiana, or Carthage, Indiana had just left Walmart. Yep. Miss Barb says, I don't know how these families go all these years without knowing where their loved ones are. It's heartbreaking. I was blessed. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So I believe that was all I had on Nancy, or on, excuse me, Michelle. So next we have Sandra Jean House. I was not fine. I think Charlie Project information was all I was able to find on her. Sandra has been missing since December 24th, 2010 from Indy. She's a white female. She was 43 years old when she went missing. She'll be 57 years old as of 2025. When she went missing, she was 5'8", 140 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Her nickname is Sandy. She has tattoos on her right ankle, left upper arm, and right shoulder. It says the shoulder tattoo is of a rose. Very common. Roses are apparently very common tattoos. That's the one tattoo that I have right now is a rose with a cross in it coming out of it. But anyway, so she was last known to be wearing a blue denim jacket, a blue hooded sweatshirt, and green pants. And once again, not a whole lot of information, but we'll take what we can get. So she was last seen at the Detour Bar and Lounge at East New York and North State Avenue in in Indianapolis on December 24th. So that would have been Christmas Eve. Duh. After that, she has never been seen or heard from again. It says there was an administrative hearing scheduled for shortly after she disappeared. She was supposed to receive a significant sum of money, but she never showed up at court. She also did not attend the family Christmas Day celebrations at her mother's house. She left behind 3 children. So you wouldn't think, I mean, I know if I was going to be receiving, they say, you know, a significant sum of money. Now, significant is can mean different amounts to different people. But if I was going to knew I was going to receive a significant amount of money, I don't think I would just disappear. But now, I don't know. But if you have any information, you can call the NDPD at 317-327-6160. And I do not have anything else for her. Unfortunately, for Miss Sandra. Welcome back, Lisa Joe. Good to have you back. Oh, okay, so Matt says, I talked to Sandra's advocate back in July. To me, it sounded like the case was a true cold case and no new developments have been made. Man. So yeah, it's from 2010. So 15 years. Almost 15 years. 14 years. So do you know any additional information that you can say about Sandra's case? Because like I said, all I was able to find was just what the Charlie Project had. She does a bit. Dandy says she looks a bit like Eileen Warnos. Yeah, a little bit. That picture at least. Now, Charlie Project does have some different pictures of her. Yeah, in that picture she does favor her a little bit. Yeah, Miss Barbara said she would want her money first. Yeah, and I don't, like I said, I have no idea where this money was coming from, why she was getting it, what the sum was. It just says significant, which is relative, you know. For somebody poor like me, significant could be a couple $100, you know. But anyway, it says she was supposed to receive a significant sum of money, but she never showed up to court. Boston says, I've not even heard of her. I know that's the sad thing about a lot of these cases. Lisa Joe says, I imagine they said significant because they felt the amount wasn't something she was likely to just not care about. Absolutely. Not that it said, Miss Paula. Unfortunately, that you know, I got on the Google machine, as Mr. Steve would say, and just any other articles I found just had basically the same little bit of information that Charlie Project had. Let me look again, but I don't. Oh, goodness gracious! Everything is. Might take it a minute to come up. She's got a nameless profile. Whew. It's hot. It's what my glasses are sliding down my face here. Once again, everything's being slow. And nameless profile didn't, I think, well, I even looked at Web Sleuths. I don't think it had anything other than what the Charlie Project had. Somebody in 2014 put a link to an article, nine local missing women had ties to prostitution. Let me see if that comes up. Page not found, of course not. Somebody just says she was last seen walking down the street, did not show up at mother's house on Christmas Day. Somebody posted, I worked for a while in outreach in that exact area. It's very sketchy and totally not safe. I hope Ellie has scoured something called the World Sex Guide as John's post where to find certain women and the event's actions. Okay. So we know about the money. Okay, so somebody, now once again, it's from Web Sleuths, so take it with a grain of salt, but most of the time their information is pretty accurate. Somebody posted in 2014 some info from 2011. Sandra was scheduled to appear in court to receive money from a disability case. So could be a disability case. And I wonder how many people knew about this, that she was getting this money. But then that wouldn't make sense. Why would they take her out before she got the money? So that's irrelevant. So apparently there is a Facebook page. Let me see if it's, excuse me, still active. Once again, everything's slow. Mustang says there was another case you did where a woman came up missing along with a big sum of money. Oh, was that last week? I think I know the older lady. I say older. I think she's in what, her 40s or 50s. I think I know which one you're talking about. Is that the one where her husband first said that he gave her the money, and this was like thousands of dollars. He gave her the money and she left. And then he changed his story and said that she took the money. Apparently, supposedly he had the money hidden around his house. And supposedly she took all the money and took off. But then his first story, like I said, was that he gave her the money when she left. Apparently, once again, according to Web Sleuths, somebody posted a disability case. Miss Barbara says she's seen Sandra's case. She was last seen at a bar or at a, hold on, let me go back because this Facebook is not loading. Oh, shoot. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. She was last seen at the Detour Bar and Lounge, which is on East New York and North State Avenue in Indianapolis on Christmas Eve, 2010. After that, she has never been heard from again. So it doesn't say if anybody saw her leaving by herself or with anyone. It's what's so frustrating about not having a lot of information. Okay, so Matt says the advocate did not really add anything more to it when I talked to her. I wonder if the court case had something to do with it. It would be interesting if we could pull those records. Yeah. So like I said, just somebody posting on Web Sleuth said supposedly it was for a disability case. Oh, that's the one, yeah, where the husband said that where he changed his story first and said he gave her the money, and then he said she took the money. You talking about the one before? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm still going the wrong way. Oh my goodness. Hold on. The case before, why is it? Hold on, let me get my stylus. My big fat fingers are punching the wrong buttons. In this case, in Michelle's case, she worked at a hardware store. No, it was an automotive store. Or are you talking about the other? I'm so confused with the cases. I have so many in my head. All right, let's get back to, there we go. Lipsha says rough area. Yep. Okay. So let's see who we have next. Next we have Chenell Renee Gilbert. So this is just a trigger warning, a little bit, or a lot, well, for this one. So Chenell was last seen at her ex-boyfriend's residence in the 7000 block of Mars. Hold on, I forgot to give you the information. She's been missing since June 9th, 2020. So this is fairly 5 years ago. From Indy, she's a black female, 42 years old. When she went missing, she'll be 48 now, or so 2025. When she went missing, she was 5'2", 160 to 180 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. She has tattoos. She has a heart with the word love on her chest, and an infinity symbol with 3 flowers on her left forearm, and a heart with the word CeeLo on her lower back. She may go by her maiden name, Renee, and her middle name is McCaleb. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, she has had gold streaks in her hair at the time of her disappearance. Her hair was styled in braids. Her nose and ears are double. Her nose is pierced. Her ears are double pierced. Right. So Chenell was last seen at her ex-boyfriend's house at around 6:18 a.m. on June 9th, 2020. She was planning to return to her daughter's home early that afternoon. She never arrived there, never been seen or heard from again. Her 19-year-old daughter used a location app to trace her mother's phone, which pinged at her ex-boyfriend's residence before the signal went dead. When she went to her mom's ex-boyfriend's house to look for her mother's car was there. The ex-boyfriend admitted that she had been by his house earlier, but said that she had left without ever coming inside. He refused to let the daughter search the home. But why didn't she take the car? The car was still there. Did she walk? Why would she walk? So she called her daughter called the police, but the ex-boyfriend wouldn't let the police in the house either. Subsequently, an item belonging to Chenell was found near West Morris and South 6B Street, not far from the Windsor Village Apartments and about a mile south of where her car had been parked. Authorities have not publicly released any further information about what was found, what this item was that was found. According to her loved ones, Gilbert's ex-boyfriend had been abusive to her. However, investigators stated he is no longer a person of interest in her case. So I don't know. Maybe he had an alibi. I don't know. But to me, it's just very... I mean, yes, you do have the right to refuse to let the police come into your house to search unless, they have a search warrant or whatever. I mean, you can give them permission, but he didn't. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that he is guilty of anything, but so she worked as a substitute teacher at the time of her disappearance. Case remains unsolved and is being investigated as a possible homicide. But yet the ex-boyfriend is no longer a person of interest. But if you have any information, you can call the Indy Metro PD at 317-327-6160. And I believe I have 2 or 3 just short articles that I was able to find on Chenell's case. I see red flags, bunches. Yep, Mustang says there are too many of these cases. Sadly, absolutely. Yep, she is very pretty lady. Yep, Sunday has red flags. Dandy, it's got red flags. Mustang. Yep, I'm telling you, they. Once again, I'm not saying because obviously I don't know. We don't know, but why because if I read it correctly, did I read it correctly that the car when her daughter went to the ex-boyfriend's house, her car was at his house or apartment or whatever it was. Why did but said that she tried to, she wanted to come in, he wouldn't let her inside or wouldn't let Chenell inside, so she left. Why didn't she take her car when she left? Nope, you can never overdo it with the red flags. Yep. Sunday says last seen at 7 a.m. at his house by him. Yep, I believe. I'm assuming. Yep, it says she was planning. Yeah, it was last seen at her ex-boyfriend's house at around 6:18 a.m. Yep. I'm assuming that's according to him. Yep, absolutely. Dandy says, I'm not walking if I arrive in my vehicle. Just saying. I know. Why would you? Unless there was something wrong with the car. Yep, Paula's red flag. Got her red flags. Miss Barb. Oh, almost put Miss Barb in timeout. The ex. Yep. Dude, Sunday says, look at all the jaded ladies club. Yep. Once again, it's a variation of that story. There's always some, we talk about it at least once in every one of these live streams. They were either at the house, got into an argument, and the missing person, the significant other, whatever, they got mad and left, haven't seen them again. Or they were driving, we had an argument, I stopped the car, they got out, left, never seen them again. Granted, it does happen. Pattern. There's a pattern here with these, though. Yep, red flags. Yep, Dandy says, I'm not a jaded woman. I'm just not naive to the real world. Absolutely. Oh, goodness, whole bunch of... Okay. All right, I'll mark there. All right, so let me get back to these articles. I think this might be the last one we have tonight. All right, so this first one comes from Yahoo News. It is from September of 2024. An Indianapolis family is asking for the public's help to find a mother and new grandmother, so apparently one of her children had a baby, who disappeared more than a week ago. Chenell R. Gilbert, 42, was supposed to meet her daughter at noon on June 9th, but never showed up, according to loved ones. Sherry Ross, who is Chenell's aunt, said this is something she would not do at all. She stayed in communication with her daughters. Gilbert's family reported her missing shortly before 6 p.m. on June 9th, according to Indy Metro PD report. Her daughters used the location app to trace their mother's phone's last location to a far west side neighborhood near Rockville and South Girls School Road. Now, this says police found her car in the neighborhood near the home of a friend. There was no sign of Gilbert or her phone. Officers later found an article that belongs to Gilbert near West Morris and South 6B Streets, not far from the Windsor Village Apartments. That's about a mile south of where the car was parked. So I'm confused now. Was it at the ex-boyfriend's house, or was it just parked? This says it was parked in the neighborhood near the home of a friend. Or is this friend what they're calling the ex-boyfriend? So Ross said that police do not want a description of the item to be released to the public. So that's interesting. IMPD Missing Persons Unit detectives and supervisors declined Indy Star's request for an interview. The detective is not ready to release any investigative information to the media right now, as it would have the potential to harm the case. That was according to IMPD spokesman Officer Michael Hewitt. Hewitt said detectives asked Gilbert's family to, quote, be careful about releasing investigative information that could be harmful to the case. Once again, she worked as a substitute teacher and is famous in her family for planning amazing parties. Ross says everyone knew her Easter egg hunt was going to be over the top. Since her disappearance, friends and loved ones have handed out thousands of flyers throughout the city in hopes of finding Gilbert. And once again, her hair is black with streaks of gold. She was last seen wearing a black jumpsuit. She had 2 daughters, 19 and 21, and a 2-month-old grandchild. Her daughters obviously were worried. The whole family is worried. Ross says, we love her. We're just scared. We are praying for her safe return. And it also gives anyone with information can also call the Crime Stoppers of Central Indiana at 317-262-8477. So now I'm confused about where they found. Of course, we all know Charlie Project information is not always reliable. But this article, at least according to this, it said her car was found in the neighborhood close to a friend's house. And once again, I don't know if they're calling the ex-boyfriend the friend, or if it was somebody a different friend. All right. So the next one is an interview with her daughter, one of her daughters. It'll come up. Is Miss Paula going? Night, Miss Paula. Oh, where'd she go? There she is. She says, night. I got a hair appointment in the morning. Good night. Night, Miss Paula. Thank you for being here, my dear. Miss Barbara says, I've gotten out of a car, but I made it home. See, exactly. Usually the ones who actually do either leave the house, just to get away, to de-escalate the situation, or get out of the car, they usually do come back. But in these missing the ones who don't come back, we've seen it, like I said, at least one and sometimes 2 cases, and every live stream, there's a variation of this story. They got into an argument, we left, never seen them again. Nobody has ever seen them again. Drives me nuts. Okay, so this next article is from wishtv.com. It is from June 2020. Daughter breaks silence 2 weeks after mother's disappearance. So at the time this article was written, Tuesday marked 2 weeks since Chenell Renee Gilbert went missing on the city's west side. The last time anyone heard from Gilbert was at 6:18 a.m. on June 9th. For the first time since her mom's disappearance, Sierra McCaleb broke her silence in an interview with News 8. McCaleb said on the day her mother went missing, she was away at Indiana State University, where she goes to college. She got a call from her 19-year-old sister, who was concerned after not hearing from their mother for several hours. So the girls tracked Gilbert's cell phone location, which showed her to be at an address in the Sungate neighborhood just off of Girls School Road. Sierra immediately, I'm assuming Sierra is the other daughter, Sierra immediately recognized the address and said it was her mother's ex-boyfriend's home. So Sierra is the The older one. Okay. So Sierra's younger sister decided to drive to the location that her phone showed. Sierra remained on FaceTime the entire time. McCaleb says she was just like asking if she could go in the house and he would not let her. At that point, Sierra said her sister hung up and called police. So I wonder if that means she was on FaceTime with her mom while she was over there, or while she was driving over there. So at that point, Sierra said her sister hung up and called the police. She says as soon as as she saw, okay, her car is there, he won't let her in. We can't find our mom, so she was going to file a missing persons report at that point. IMPD's report from that day confirms that Gilbert's car was parked at the house. Police have said little about the case, only that it is an ongoing investigation. In the meantime, the girls were connected with a stranger who wanted to help. Sierra said Donette Smith has become part of her family. Smith has helped raise thousands of dollars in the past 2 weeks to help Gilbert's daughter pay rent and other bills. Okay, so according to the daughters, the address that the phone pinged to or whatever was at the ex-boyfriend's house. Okay. All right, so I think I have one more short article. It'll come up. Oh, come on. Yep. I've done, I think, a video, maybe a video with, we've definitely talked about Echo Lloyd. They just said Echo Lloyd, then 48, went missing May 10th, 2020, from Benton County, Missouri, still missing. She has brown hair and brown eyes. She is 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs between 100 and 110 pounds. Yep, I think I did. Echo may have been one of the first videos I ever did when I started the channel. One of the first cases that I covered, or that I made a video about. And then we've talked about her in live streams. I have to check up on that. I'm going to have to go down, start through all my videos, go down to the bottom, and try to look for update, if there are any updates on any of the cases or the missing persons that I featured. And then it says you've covered Echo several times. Miss Barbara says she made a sign for Echo. Absolutely. Miss Barbara is a wonderful human being. And this last article apparently is not going to come up. Let me try to do a new tab. Sometimes that works. Oh, I have 2 tabs going. Maybe that's why. Let me try one more time. Oh, my back hurts. Of course. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this one is from fox59.com. This is from October 2020. Missing West Side mother, grandmother now being investigated as homicide. So it says there are new developments in the case of missing mother and grandmother Chenell Gilbert. The Indianapolis Metro PD tells us this is now a homicide investigation. Police say Gilbert was last seen June 9th on the west side near Rockville and South Girls School Road in the Sungate community. Since then, her family has been searching desperately for answers to her whereabouts. Her aunt Sherry Ross says the last time I talked to her was maybe a day before her disappearance. So just after 6 a.m. on June 9th, Chenell vanished. Her 2 daughters began to worry after she did not return that afternoon, which is out of the ordinary. That's when they called their aunt. Ross says it was just unbelievable. And when they told that they had traced her cell phone back to her ex-boyfriend's house, that is when I became a little concerned. Police also located her vehicle in the driveway of the ex-boyfriend's house. So this comes from police. So now we know the car was in the driveway of the ex-boyfriend's house on Mars Drive. The family pointed to him after he did not allow her daughters to search his home. They are now left wondering why he is no longer a person of interest. I have the same questions. Ross, who is her aunt, says it makes me feel angry. It makes me feel sad because he was the last person that we know that she was in contact with. The family believes that they lost time since police did not get a search warrant to the home until days after the disappearance. So apparently they did search the home, but days after, he would have, once again, if he had anything to do with it, he would have had plenty of time to clean anything up if it was days before they got a search warrant. So now there's a turn within the investigation. IMPD Public Affairs Officer William Young says, we assume that she is deceased based on her not having any correspondence with her family. Duh. Those who care and love Chenell deeply remain distraught due to the lack of answers and assistance from the community. Her aunt says, we do know that people just don't disappear. Someone knows something or saw something. November 9th makes 5 months, and as holidays approach, hearts remain heavy without their loved one. Ross says, it leaves us empty. It's really sad that she is out there somewhere and we do not know where she is. And it's just a big void and a hole in everyone's heart. How can you move on when you have a family member that's missing? But the detectives on the case assure the family that this is also near and dear to their hearts as well. More than 500 flyers have been posted in search of answers to her whereabouts. Public Information Officer Young says, we are still searching for leads. We encourage the community, if you have any tips, to call 262 tips, where you can remain anonymous, or you can contact our investigators in person or contact them on the phone, 327-3475. All right, so I think that was the last article. So now we know, according to the police, that her phone was last pinged at the ex-boyfriend's place, and her car was parked at the ex-boyfriend's house. So, once again, I'm not a professional by any means, but why would he not be a person of interest? And if they do, and even if he did not have anything to do with it, why couldn't they at least told the family, maybe not the public, told the family, hey, we have very solid alibi evidence, whatever the case may be, that there's no way that he had anything to do with it. So that's why we're ruling him out as a person of interest. But apparently they didn't give the family any reasoning for why the ex-boyfriend is not a person of interest. Anyway, that's just my worthless 2 cents. Okay. I think we have one more that all I had was the Charlie Project information. First, let me get back into your comments for a second, and we'll get the last one in. Yes, Miss Barb is a wonderful human being. Miss Barb says, I talked to her good friend, still nothing about Echo. Oh, man. Absolutely, Miss Barb. We have nothing but kind words for Miss Barbara. Are you talking about Echo? Dandy says, that's discouraging. The most recent article I can find on her is from May of this year. I'm gonna have to do a follow-up on all these. They made a documentary about Echo. Miss Barb says, I know they made a documentary. Dandy says no evidence to link him to the crime for a search warrant, but is suspect. Well, let me go back to that last article. I think they said they did end up searching the house, but it was what they said days later. Let me make sure I read it right. I don't want to give out any misinformation. Yeah, it says the family believes they lost time since police did not get a search warrant to the home until days after her disappearance. So apparently they did search. They did get a search warrant, so they had to have some kind of evidence to have probable cause to get a search warrant, but it was days later. So once again, if he had anything to do with it, he would have had plenty of time to clean anything up, get rid of any evidence that may have been there. But they did search it apparently days after. Okay. All right, so the last one we have is I forgot to bring his had his information up. Oh, don't tell me this site can't. There it is. Scott Michael Morris. This is a young one, the youngest one tonight. So Scott has been missing since August 14th, 1978 from Indy. He's a white male. He was just 14 years old. He will be 61 years old today, and that age, the smaller picture is an age progression to 59 years old. So at the time he went missing, he was 5'6" and 140 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. Says he may use the first name Jeffrey. He has scars on his knees and on his buttocks. Not a lot of information. So he was last seen in his hometown of Indy on August 14th, 1978. He went to a convenience store down the street from his home and never returned. It says he was a frequent runaway at the time of his disappearance. So apparently 3 days after he went missing, he did call his family to say that he was working for a carnival in Pennsylvania. And I'm assuming these are confirmed because he talked to his family. So in 1989, he called a family friend and said that he was okay. He was still working for a carnival, but he wouldn't say where. That conversation was very brief, and after that, he never got in touch with his loved ones again. So a body was found in Daviess County, Kentucky in 1990. It was misidentified as Scott in 2007. That victim had been beaten and GSW'd. Trigger warning, his hands and feet were cut off and all his teeth had been removed, hindering ID. So in January of 2009, DNA analysis proved that this person wasn't really, so it took 2 years. I mean, I know DNA, it takes a while, but so 2 years after, they finally realized that this was not Scott. So his case was then re-entered into the missing persons database in 2010. He remains listed as missing, and this Kentucky victim is still unidentified, unfortunately. So that is all the information we have on Scott, because I was not able to find any other articles, any other information. But if you do have any information, you can call, once again, the NDPD at 317-327-6915. So this could be a case of he just ran off and joined the circus. I'm not making light of it, because it didn't, it said that he called to his, let me start over again. He called his family and talked to them, said he was working. So 3 days, the first time he called was 3 days after he went missing. Told his family he was working for a carnival in Pennsylvania. So he went missing in 78. So then in 1989 is when he called the family friend, said he was okay. He's still working for a carnival, but wouldn't say where. And after that, he never got in touch with anybody again. So it may have been a case of even though he's only 14 years old, he may have just wanted to leave for whatever reason. There might have been something going on or whatever. He just wanted to get away from the, and it said that he was a frequent runaway. He just wanted to get away from his life there. But at any rate, still doesn't change the fact that his family still wants and needs to know where he's at. But all right. Get caught up in your comments again. That's the question I had. Miss Barb says, why does he have scars on his knees and his buttocks? That's a good question. I'm just speculating here. That may have been the reason he wanted to get away from his life. I don't know. Once again, just my opinion, just speculation. I don't know. I mean, it would not be unusual for a 14-year-old to have scars on their knees. I mean, especially boys and girls too, like me. I was a tomboy. I fell out of my fair share of trees and things of that nature when I was a kid. But now on the buttocks, I don't know. I mean, there are ways you can fall on your butt, but I don't know how you would get a scar. To me, that's, I don't know. I'm iffy on that one. I don't know. Dandy says, I think about all these older missing cases and also about all the people being found recently that are held captive for months or years. It's horrifying. Oh, I know. Most certainly. Thank you, Miss Farr. Says, thank you, Southern Gal. Great live. Got to go. Stay safe, all. Love and light. Thank you, Miss Farr, for being here. Thank you for the, once again, I think it was, 5 gifted memberships. Let me go back. Why won't you move up? Holy moly. Oh. Where's it at? Yes, Miss Farr has been a member for 12 months. Thank you. And she also gifted 5 Southern Gal True Crime memberships. So thank you once again to Miss Farr. She is a wonderful human. Holy moly. Hold on. A bunch of comments just popped up. Oh, there they are. Dandy says it should never take 30 plus years on these cases to run DNA because it's backlogged. Yeah, well, they said they found a nude body was found in Daviess County, Kentucky in 1990. So he disappeared in 78. So that would have been, I'm trying to do the math, 12 years after he disappeared. This was the one that was misidentified as Scott in 2007. Okay, so yeah, from 1978 to 2007. Somebody will have to do the math for me on that. He was misidentified as Scott. Then 2000, then it took till 2009 for the DNA analysis to prove that this person wasn't Scott. So then Scott's case was re-entered into the missing database in 2010. So yeah. I don't know why it took them why did it take them 2 years from 2007 to 2009 to finally figure out that they misidentified? Anyway. Yeah, Miss Barb says it does explain why he'll be running away, but I don't know. No judgment for me. Oh, no judgment here either. I thought the same thing too. I don't know. Like I said, either he was, a free spirit, just wanted, like I said, not making light of it, but, run away and join the circus. He wanted to go work for the carnival. He was a free spirit. He just wanted to go do his own thing. Or maybe something could have been going on in his family life at his home that he wanted to get away from. I think both possibilities are plausible in my opinion. Hey, there's Doodlebug. Where's she at? There she is. Hey, oh my goodness. What am I doing? Push the wrong buttons. I'm pushing buttons. Watch out. Hey, Doodlebug. Good to see you, sister. You burned wood in a wood stove. What did you burn? I don't know if I want to know. when you were like 9. What are you talking about? Did I miss something? What? Did you burn a part of your body in the wood stove? Your buttocks? Is that what you're talking about? I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's not funny, but thank you, Mustang. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Doodle just pops in here all of a sudden and says, I burned mine in. We were talking about buttocks and knees. And she said she burned something in on the wood stove or in a fireplace. Doodle, goodness gracious, woman. What are we going to do with you? So you burned your butt. So I'm putting Doodle's business all out here. One line all the way across. You burned your booty. Well, Doodle. Goodness gracious. Doodle's always into something, even when she was a kid, apparently. Probably especially when she was a kid. Oh, I can see how that happened. Doodle, she says, backed right up against it. Yeah, I can see that now. Mustang says she burnt her foot on a floor furnace. Yep. I don't think I ever had any burns when I was a kid. And I did was climbing on a chair or something when I was, and that's probably one of my earliest memories. I don't remember how old I was, very young. But we were at a friend's house, or one of my parents' friends' house. They used to go over and play cards together, and I was doing something on a chair, probably something I shouldn't have been doing. Fell off a chair, I got a scar right here. I had to go to I think they took me to the emergency room. I don't know if I got stitches or just one of them like little butterfly bandages, but that's probably one of my earliest memories. Anyway, I don't think I've had any really bad burns. Yep, Dandy says those older floor vents that got up. Sorry, everything jumped. That got red hot were dangerous as heck. Burned my feet on more than one. Yep. Yeah, my grandparents back in the day had a God, it was big. It was probably, I'm trying to think of, I'm not good at measuring distances. Probably 2 or 3 feet long. And when I was a kid, came up to here on me, gas stove that they had in their living room because it's a very old wooden house, over 100 years old, 150 years old now. And that thing, if you got close enough to it, would burn the heck out of you. You didn't even have to touch it. So they got hot. Oh, Doodle says she was quiet as a child. I don't know if I quite believe that. All right, let me make sure. Yep, that was the last one we had. All right, guys. Hey, we did good. We got done in just a little over 2 hours tonight. We did good. Oh. All right. So thank you to everybody who's here. Anybody got anything? Last thoughts? Any missing persons? Silver alerts, amber alerts that I'm not aware of? Anything? And Dundee says, I'm surprised I survived the late 70s and 80s. You and me both, sister. Kids now would think it's torture. I know. Having to drink water out of a water hose. Oh, God, that was the best water, especially if it was country water, because we have well water out here. We used to. City water sucks. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, riding our bikes, getting like a 2x4 or a wooden plank and putting it on a cement block and jumping your bike over it. The good old days. Barb says it's a good thing we don't take lie detector testing here. I think Miss Doodle may be doing a little fibbing. Oh, goodness. All right, so Friday, I think we're going to be able to do a True Crime After Dark. I've got a lot of Miss Barbara says she still drinks out of her hose. Hasn't killed me yet. Oh, I'm telling you, that water that came out of that water hose is probably better for us than bottled, the bottled water and purified water and filtered water that is around today. Mustang says she did that on a BMX. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Miss Barbara says that's the day when kids played outside. I know, we were encouraged. Our kids would say, "Go outside and play. Get out from under my feet. Go outside and play." In which, growing up on a farm, there were endless things to keep us occupied on the farm, because we have, woods. We played in the woods behind the houses. I mean, we would play for hours. We would camp down there. I mean, we would take tents and set it up. We knew how to build, fires, and safely. We were taught. It just being, we were taught, being raised on the farm, being in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We knew how to build a fire and things of that nature. We'd set up tents and camp, especially during summertime when we were all out of school. Our parents were working, so us and the cousins, my parents or grandparents farmed, so at least my grandmother was always home, and my grandpa was in and out from the fields, depending on if it was planting time or harvest time or whatever, or if it wasn't planting or harvest time, it was always garden time. We had a garden, and we were expected to help plant the garden and pick the garden, and and I love that. So yeah, so we had endless things to do on the farm outside, and now very rarely do I see kids playing outside anymore. It's sad, sad. Okay. All right. Dandy says there's a missing 6-month-old out of Georgia. Just saw. Oh my God, his little body was found 4 hours ago. What is the name? I might come look it up. In Georgia. Hold on. That is horrible. Let's see if I can find something. Clayton County. Okay, here's something from 2 hours ago. I can't screen share because StreamYard's not working on my computer. If it'll come up. Sorry, it'll send me vaping here. Oh, so trigger warning. 6-month-old baby found deceased, Clayton County Medical Examiner says. A 6-month-old baby first reported missing Sunday has been found deceased, according to the Clayton County Medical Examiner's office. I'll try not to butcher this baby's name. Nakai, it's N-N-A-K-A-I. Pratt was reported missing at 100 Valley Hill Road in Riverdale, which is the listed address of the aspiring to something at Riverdale apartment complex on Sunday. Oh God. Pratt's body was found in a dumpster near the apartment complex on Tuesday, according to the medical examiner's office. So police said Pratt's father, Antonio Pierce, claimed he was robbed at gunpoint, that the robbers took Pratt and escaped, quote, in an unknown direction. That sounds just like the, what is it, Emmanuel Harrow? Except it was the mom. Oh my God. So police previously said, quote, the facts surrounding the disappearance of baby Nakai are highly questionable, you think, due to, quote, inconsistent testimony along with physical evidence that points to the existence of foul play. Residents at the apartment complex were stunned by Pratt's death. A resident named Tracy said, heartbroken, these little ones, the families who live here, they do love their kids. This is a very family-oriented place. The kids this is going to hurt the community really bad. Um, Another resident says, we're going to feel it for a while. I'm not sure we will be able to forget this, seeing as how I've personally seen them over the last year. This is a nightmare. It makes you want to hold your kids tighter at night. Pratt was taken into custody Sunday on unrelated charges, according to police. Police have previously said he is considered a suspect in the disappearance. I hope so. This is a developing story. Check back for updates. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, it's just like was it Emmanuel Harrow? Do I have the right case? But it was the mom that said she went to the strip mall, whatever, and some men came up and said something to her and hit her and took the baby, and then telling you that some people, and once again, this father allegedly, some people do not need to be parents. It just makes me even worse that there's so many good people out there who want to be parents, who can't be parents, or they can through adoption. And then you have these parents like, Emmanuel Harrow, once again, allegedly, I don't think they've been convicted yet or whatever. That allegedly just, drives me insane. Yes. Yep. Mustang says my grandma told us to go play in the street. Yeah, I heard that more than once. But living out in the country, we rode our bikes up and down the gravel road. We didn't have a lot of traffic. We had to dodge, farm equipment. That's about it. Yeah, definitely prayers for that family. JP said, us too. Yep, Miss Barb says it was a joke in our house to go play in traffic. Good thing we didn't listen, I guess. Yeah, we had to be in. Of course, living out here. Well, we do have a night watcher. We call a night watcher a night light outside. But if I was in town with friends, we knew we had to be at home or whatever friend's house we were staying at when the street lights came on in town. We knew we had to get home, or whatever house we were staying at, we better be there. Yep, definitely prayers for that family. I will have to keep it. I will have to include this Friday in the True Crime After Dark. We'll take another look at this, see if there's anything else that develops between now and Friday. Because I was going through my saved bookmarks on my phone of articles, and I found a bunch of stuff. I've saved up enough stuff to do a True Crime After Dark, talk about some Dandy. Was it Dandy earlier that was talking about people who have been identified? These cold cases of victims are being, John Does are being identified. Possible suspects are being identified with the DNA, genetic genealogy. So I have a few of those cases to talk about. So we'll do that Friday night. Yep, JP says we do all kinds of stuff outside. Oh, yeah. But Mustang says, I don't think I'd want my kids to play outside if I had kids. Maybe not these days. Thank you, Dandy. Thank you. Yeah, JP says maybe in your own secure backyard, most definitely. Yeah, Mustang says we made our own things to do. Yeah, we had imaginations back then. I mean, some kids still do, but a lot of kids just, especially what they call the iPad kids, they just, and I blame the parents as much as anything, which I shouldn't be blaming anybody. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, a lot of these kids, certain generations, younger generations were, as soon as they were old enough to sit up, there was an iPad or something, some kind of media was shoved in front of their face to be their babysitter. And, some kids don't have imaginations anymore or like to play outside. Now, there still are some that do, thank God. Maybe there's a little hope. Yeah, Dandy says we never got bored, yet had no technology. Exactly. Oh, yeah. And yeah, we never said don't ever, back in the day, don't ever tell your parents or your grandparents, whoever, I'm bored, because they would find you something to do. There's always chores to be done. I'm telling you, you never ever said you were bored. Yes, we had real. Oh, I almost put JP in timeout. We had real fun. Doodle played Tarzan. Yep. JP says we made Mom mad with. You mean with Buddy? Did you mean Muddy Jeans? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We played in the mud. We ate. We had mud pies. We ate dirt. We ate dirt. Drank out of water hoses. We're still alive. Oh, Miss Barb. Oh goodness. I'm gonna have to put Miss Barb and Doodle in the corner. Dandy says, I laid in wait to catch critters for days. Yeah. Good times. We were the last ones to enjoy a world free of tech. Absolutely. I so wish we could go back to those days. I mean, technology and social media can be used for good, but unfortunately, a lot of times it's used for not good stuff. Who's in jail? Wait a minute. What? Who's in jail? Miss Barb says, I think they're both in jail now. Are you talking about this case we were talking about, the little baby, the baby? Oh my God, it's got a picture of him. God, that sweet little face. Yeah, I'll bookmark this so I won't forget it, and I'll look for any updates. If there is any, or we'll look into this more. Yeah, isn't that what she said? They said the Harold case, Ola. Yep. Well, when the street lights came on at night, we had to be home at dusk. Yeah, Dandy says they arrested the dad on an unrelated warrant. I'm glad they found the baby. In my opinion, Mom cooperated. Mom cooperated to find his body, so she knew. Oh gosh, Tigger is out there caterwauling. I don't know if you could hear him. Yeah, and Miss Barb says, what is going on with these parents? What are they drinking or smoking or something? Tell them they need to drink some hose water. It'll fix them right up. Kill all those crazy things in their head. Okay, I think I'm caught up. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here for tonight. Like I said, hopefully, as far as I know, I should be able to be back Friday night. We'll take a look at some cases and anything else true crime related or not. You know how these things go. We always devolve into something. But thank you to everybody who was here in chat. Thank you to Replay Crew. We love our Replay Crew. Don't forget, everybody, hit the like button, share it out. If you're Replay Crew, leave a comment below. If you're in chat, you can still leave a comment below. After it's over, it does help with the algorithm so that as many people as possible can see this and learn about these missing persons cases. I'm going to try to do some multitasking here for a minute. As usual, since I've been saying for how long now? 2 years now? No, not that long. That I'm going to get a new outro and a new intro, new outro using JP's song that he did for me. But I'm going to have to find it and screen record it because I cannot get the MP3 that he sent me to work for some reason on my phone. User error, I'm sure. But anyway, I will get it one of these days. So, as always, I'm going to leave you with the fur babies, with the Tigger and the biscuit. So you guys have a good week, rest of your week. Stay safe. Absolutely. As Dave always says, don't die. It just kills me when he says that. He always ends, don't die. Please, everybody don't die. Be kind. We're all we have. Let's take care of each other. I'm going to quit babbling now. I love you guys, and I will see you guys hopefully Friday. And I do have videos that will upload Wednesday, I believe, and Friday. And like I said, hopefully I'll be able to get another members only video done, probably uploaded Sunday. So I'm going for now. I'm going for real now. Love you guys. I will see you later.